Alright, so today's video, we're just going to take a quick overview of a RJ45. Primarily, you can use it for RJ11 as well, things like that. But it's basically just a little toolkit, and it has a little assortment here. So I'm going to show you a few images that detail some of the product specifics, and then we'll take a little closer look at this and kind of talk about what is included with it so you have an idea. Okay? Take a look at these images, we'll get into the video. Alright, so as stated, this is basically designed to be like RJ11, RJ45. I think you can use it for RJ12, yeah, RJ12 as well. So RJ11, typically that's going to be your phone line. RJ45, it's going to be your network cable. I used to have to make these. Nothing I really enjoyed, but having tools like this made it really easy. So basically, I want to show you this cable, though. This is a pre-manufactured cable, obviously, but you see how this clip is not protected by anything, okay? That's fine. Like if you're using it on a patch panel or something like that, it's generally going to be fine. But if you're going to have this under a desk, behind a computer, running around on the floor, different areas, and you're going to be feeding the lines back and forth, moving them around, maybe, I don't know, whatever reason you have for that, but you know, if you have to do that, then having these little covers are really, really handy. So you can see excuse me, you can see this little portion here. So basically what this does is it slides onto the cable, and then you take your end and you crimp it onto the end of the cable, and then this slides in, and that will go over top of that portion right there so that this doesn't get caught and snagged, because these will very easily snap and break. And then although they generally still work, they don't have a very firm connection in the Ethernet port any longer, so that can be problematic, especially if you're in a business somewhere and somebody happens to have like those channels where they run across the floor and it happens to be moved just a little bit overnight when the cleaning staff comes in or something. This can become disconnected, and then you have downtime, because the simplest solution isn't always the first solution people look for when trying to solve a problem, and you think there's something wrong with your network or with your workstation in your office or at home or just wherever. But that's an example that's happened, you know, things like that happen. So anyway, you get 20 of these connectors, so you're going to have the ability to make, you know, a pretty good number of cables. You'll probably mess up unless you've done this quite a lot, because when you twist the little strands inside of this to get these little, well, I don't know if you can see them, but the different colors here, when you try to line those up, every so often when you slide them in to the actual end, they will just twist just a little bit, and you'll get a little bit of a problem. So that's something that happens, something to be aware of. But anyway, you get 20 of these, and you get 20 of these. So that's going to cover you as far as making numerous cables and having them protected, and you can use them or not use them depending upon what your usage, your usage is, your use case scenario. Like I said, patch panels and things, you probably don't need them. It's quick and easy to just pull those out. They're not going to get disturbed or very often be messed with. So this is your little tool here. Has a nice rubber grip, so it actually feels quite good, and it actually works quite well. So you've got your crimping option, your cutting option. You can also strip the wire with these if you wanted to, but my personal preference is this. This is actually your punch down tool as well as your wire stripper, and you can see the different diameters right here. So basically you would just take this, pop that open, and slip it onto a cable, and then afterward you would just take it, and I usually just go like this and run my hand around. I am fumbly. So that's going to allow you to spin that around. It's got a little blade right there on the bottom. You may be able to make out a little bit. And that blade is going to actually cut the cable without cutting the strands underneath, because it just puts a very minimal amount of pressure on it. And you just spin that around real quick, and then you can pull the actual outer casing off and have access to the inner strands, and then you can line up your colors, pop them into the end, And then when you're done, you just pop that in to your crimp tool like that. It's going to actually lock that in place. I don't know if you're familiar with this or you're watching this, you may already know what this is. So anyway, the other thing that's included is a little guide, and this is going to talk about your network cable and the cable tester. The cable tester is actually kind of a blessing in a lot of cases. So it needs a 9-volt battery, which is not included, but this is the main testing unit. This is the remote testing unit, and basically you're just going to plug in your cable to each end, and you're going to see LED indicators that's going to give you faults or success. So if you make the cable successfully, you're good. If you didn't, then you're not. You're going to have to make another cable, and that's usually just a matter of putting the end on it. Sometimes you can get damage along the lines of the cable, especially if you're running it maybe through a drop ceiling or if you're in a crawl space area. So having a cable tester is kind of nice because it eliminates real fast. Very quickly you can determine, do you have a bad cable or do you have something else going on in the event that that becomes an issue. And this is actually, let me see if I can slide this together. So this can slide together like that. And so that stays all nice and neat packaged. But yeah, you can just pop your cables in, you can run your test, you've got your little slider here, and that's going to give you your LED readouts. You'll know really quickly if you've got a fault or no fault. But anyway, I just wanted to introduce you what's included with this really quickly. It's a very good little kit, if you're just going to need to do a little bit here and there at home or on the job, whatever. But I've used these type things in the past. I don't use them much anymore, but very handy. The crimp tool actually comes with a little information that shows you like the different portions, and it gives you some instructional information on the back. In case you're not familiar with it, maybe that'll help walk you through the actual functionality of it a little bit. And it comes in this little box, which is what I'm using to store it in. I think the only improvement they could really make was to give you like a little storage pouch. I basically have all of these same tools in a network kit that I used to use more frequently, that's got a little handle, zip up. It just makes it easy to make it very portable and carry it. But the box will suffice. It's just not as elegant a solution, if you will. But anyway, I'll leave a link below if you want to find out more about this. I really don't have any cables I need to build right now, and I have a lot of pre-made cables as well as cables I've made over the years. But if you're fishing these things through the walls and you're doing panels in your house so you have a cleaner look, or if you're just running these through the walls, through under the house, through the attic, whatever it is, through the drop ceiling in a business, having the ability to run the wires and then grab your tools and pop the ends on and get everything set up quick and easy, it's really, really nice. And this definitely is going to be something you need to have to make that simpler. And having other things like this just make testing easier, so you're not running back and forth to a computer or something trying to plug stuff in and test it that way. So anyway, I'll leave a link below. You can read more about this, kind of find out more information. But otherwise, hopefully that's useful. And that's it. Thanks for watching.